So I created the Shire to be used as a Warmaster terrain, and in a few easy steps you can do it as well. And if you stay in the video for a few minutes, I'll also share with you a small battalion of halfling units that I painted up to go with the terrain, which I hope you will enjoy as much as I did creating them. Alright, so basically I just started out by finding some STL files that I could be using in order to create the Shire terrain. I would say though that it is possible to create the terrain without printing these, but it just made the process so much easier. There's multiple places you can get these files like this, and here I just show some of them. Then I just printed up the models and got them cured, and here's the result. It took me a few tries to find the right and perfect size for Warmaster. And if I should do this again, I would probably just have been taking some STL files with other Warmaster models in order to see the size difference. Then I found some bases that I'll be using for this terrain, and these are actually just bought from Green Stuff World. The doors that I printed up needed to be glued onto some sort of hills or something, and for this I used some XPS foam. I bought my XPS foam from Green Stuff World, but I'm pretty certain there's easier ways to get this. Then basically I just cut out this XPS foam until it got some sort of the rocky or hill kind of form that I wanted. Because I was using filler afterwards, I didn't want to use too much time on cutting these out. It didn't have to be perfect, but just somewhat resemble the shape that I wanted. After I was done cutting the foam, I basically just glued on the foam to the base together with the print that I made. For this step I just used some instant glue, but in hindsight it would probably be more correct to use some PVA glue here. As soon as the glue was dry, it was time to apply the filler for the bases, and I apologize for the camera angle here. I used some pretty standard poly filler, but there's like tons of different options out there on what to use. And then basically I just spread the filler all around the base until you pretty much cover everything on the hill. With this part done, it should be looking something like this, where it covers almost everything. And then I had to take a look at the bases. You can pretty much cover on some sand or whatever you have at your disposal, but I used earth texture from Vallejo, which I think works perfectly for this. And it's also quite easy to apply. In hindsight, I should probably have been waiting for the filler to dry, but you know, sometimes I just get way too impatient and just want to get on with the project. Then I actually used a little bit of sand in order to make some roads to make the terrain look a bit more lively. I used the sand from Citadel, but you can pretty much go to the beach and take some or whatever you prefer. Now I just have to wait in order for the terrain to dry, and meanwhile I thought I would be making some small forest around the Shire. The trees that I just showed is actually a free sculpt from Thingiverse that I downloaded, and I'll be posting a link to it down in the comment section below. And the figurine that I just showed is actually Bilbo from the old cartoon, which I thought would be really fun to print up as well, and it's also a free file that I'll also be sharing in the comment section below. I wanted to use it as some sort of a statue in the middle of the Shire. So I just placed them on some XPS foam that assembled a small rock, and that's pretty much it, and then I glued it all together. And for the trees I pretty much just used the same technique as before. I placed them on the same round bases that I used from Green Stuff World, and I just used some earth texture from Vallejo. After it all were dried up, I went out and sprayed the things with a generic green spray can that I just have lying around. I don't even think it wasn't from Citadel or anything, so I can't even say the name of the spray, but that doesn't matter too much anyway. Just use whatever you have at your disposal. Then I made a mix of PVA glue and some water, and I started on drizzling some flock nylon 3mm that I also bought from Green Stuff World. I think it's called dark green. And I found out that in order to make the stuff cover, I had to do this step a few times. Then I pretty much just shaded all the ground on the houses and also on the forest with clear green shade. And then I pretty much just start to paint up the terrain pieces. I don't go too much in detail with this because I feel like you can pretty much paint them up the way you want to. And yeah. Then I printed up a battalion of halflings from Warblock miniatures with their leader on a rooster / griffin mix, I don't know. These models look so cool and so funny at the same time. I really like them, so it was just a blast having to paint these up. I had a hard time coming up with the color scheme for these models, but I wanted them to be like in sync with the rest of the Shire, so green was one of the colors at least, and then I just went with yellow for the second color for the army. So I painted these up, lost a lot of TFT games, and here are the final result. I made a small showcase of these miniatures before and after I got them painted up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again in the next one.